My favorite thing is to go where I've never been. For me, there's something about just going into somebody else's house. When it comes time to go, if I have to take a bus to somewhere or if I have to take a cab uptown, it's like I've got a blind date. It's always seemed something like that to me. And sometimes I have a sinking feeling of, oh God, it's time, and I really don't want to go. And then once I'm on my way, something terrific takes over about the sort of queasiness of it and how there's absolutely no method for control. Diane Arbus. I've always been an extremely nervous person. I grew up with a mother who was obsessed with a particular childhood trauma that she could not and has not moved past to this very day. Her fear and distrust of people became my fear and distrust of people. This turned into a sort of hyper-awareness of the emotional states of those around me. I suppose it was a coping mechanism. I was terrified of upsetting anyone or doing or saying anything that might cause someone to become uncomfortable. A perverse form of people-pleasing is what it ultimately amounts to. In order to avoid the discomfort of confrontation, I was intensely aware of the way others reacted, not just to me, but to anyone around them. If they became uncomfortable, even in the slightest, I saw it, and I would do anything and everything in my power to make them feel at ease. Seeing as it is impossible to be in most any social situation for an extended amount of time without some level of discomfort, this made socializing very stressful for me. It's no wonder I withdrew and became such an introvert. It took years for me to come to understand that the comfort or discomfort of those around me is none of my concern. People can and will take care of themselves, and it's not my responsibility to make everyone happy. I also started to learn the importance of being uncomfortable in those social situations, and the fact that everyone knows and understands this discomfort, and that they will think no less of me for being socially awkward with strangers. And if they do, they are no one I'm interested in impressing anyway. In fact, discomfort is such an important and essential part of human existence that to avoid it is to shut out all semblance of one's own humanity. And that's why I find the Diane Arbus quote mentioned above so interesting. It's about her struggle with the discomfort of walking into a situation where you have little to no control. No matter how hard you try, you can't always make people happy. When you put yourself out there and choose to step into someone else's world, there is no telling what you'll find there, and no guarantee that it will work out for anyone involved. Maybe they'll be offended or hurt, or even worse, angry and violent. Or maybe, if you're lucky, they'll give you a little piece of themselves and allow you a quiet glimpse into their private world. For Diane Arbus, this was essential to her work. She chose to photograph complete strangers so she could learn something about the world she had been so thoroughly sheltered from as a rich New York girl. Her fascination with freaks or outliers who lived on the fringes of society may or may not have been exploitative. I'll leave that up to you to decide. But one thing is for certain. She was pushing herself far out of her comfort zone every time she took to the streets to find new subjects for her photographs. And leaving behind that sense of safety is how we grow as individuals and artists. Recently, I've taken up a project of my own that will require me to leave the safety of my inner world and confront some difficult things about my past and the past of those closest to me. I won't be doing this with total strangers the way Diane Arbus did, but confronting ourselves and those we know best can be even more frightening than insinuating ourselves into the lives of strangers. It means I'll have to hear other people's opinions about people, places, and events I have already formed concrete thoughts, ideas, and beliefs about. The stories we tell ourselves about the past, who we were, who our friends and family were, and what it all means for us and them, become our identity, and there are few things less pleasant than having one's identity called into question. I do not intend to pull any punches, not for myself or anyone else. I want to know the whole truth, or whatever approximation of truth any group of individuals is capable of mustering. I will rely on one unreliable narrator after another, and I count myself among them. Together we may possess something like the facts, or perhaps simply an agreed-upon mythology. But I know that I will have to dig deep if I want to get the really good stuff, the stuff that turns our heads, pries open our eyes, and forces us to stare into the heart of the sun. With each step forward, I'll be met with that sinking feeling Arbus talks about. That feeling can and will make you change your mind and stay comfortably in the safety of your own home. But it can also be transformed into something terrific. The only way you'll ever witness that transformation is by stepping into the discomfort and choosing to walk through it.